Hello friends, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Nikunj Raval and currently I am working in Rai University, and today I am going to present topic for Java, and the topic is, you can see in screen, that is the principle of object oriented language. Okay, so as you know earlier, you maybe learn about the procedure oriented language like as C language, right? So in C language, the main approach is top to bound approach is there, the top to bottom approach is there, but the object oriented technology is different. Java is a pure object oriented language. Before Java, you maybe learn C++. C++ is a also object oriented language, but you cannot say C++ is pure object oriented language, but we can say Java is a pure object oriented language just because of Java will follow the all rules and regulation for the object oriented language. If you want to make any simple program of Java, then you have to create class in Java, and that is why Java is a pure object oriented language. So today we are going to learn some important concept, or you can say some important principal rules of object oriented technology. So as you can see in screen, then for the principle of object oriented language, that you can see object, class, encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism. These are the main concept of object oriented language. If we talk about object, that means object is a, that means you can take any kind of object in object oriented language. You can take the class, use the class and take the object into the class. Mainly the object are running in class. So the topic of principal object oriented language is a class. That means class can made by the object, right? The group of object, that means class. Into class you can cover the data and function in one particular class, right? So basically we should make the class in Java. Then the next topic is encapsulation. Encapsulation means binding the data and function together in one single unit. That means encapsulation. In encapsulation, mainly you are using private variable. That means you are hiding the data from outside of the class. That is the encapsulation. The encapsulation is also known as data hiding. Okay, so encapsulation is also main concept of object oriented language. Then you can see inheritance. Inheritance is a main part of the object oriented language, and we will see in next slide the types of inheritance as well, and how we can make the inheritance in Java as well, right? And then after, the topic is polymorphism. Polymorphism is also, you can say, it's a main part of object oriented language. Okay, so some detailed concept of inheritance. So this is the definition of inheritance is there. Inheritance means you can taking the data from one class to another class. In Java, mainly we are using superclass and subclass. That means we are acquiring the data from superclass to subclass. Whatsoever data you have declared in superclass, that data you can use in subclass. But condition is there, whatever data you have declared in superclass, that data must have to you declare as a public mode, right? Whatsoever data you have declared as a public, that data you can use in child class, right? So inheritance, nothing but you can say it's a reusability of data. You can reuse the data, whatever data you have declared in parent class, that data you can use in subclass, right? So there are mainly 5 types of the inheritance is there. that we have seen in C++. So that is the single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. So these are the 5 types of inheritance is there. But in Java, we will see only 3 inheritance, because Java will not support multiple inheritance and hybrid inheritance. So today we will see the types of inheritance in Java as well. These are the of inheritance in Java, that is the single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance. First of all, we will see single inheritance is there. That means there is only one superclass and one subclass is there, that you can see in figure. Class A is a superclass and class B is a subclass. You can declare the data in class A, you can declare the variable in class A, you can declare the method in class A, and that data and method will be used by class B. So single inheritance, because there is only one superclass and one subclass is there. Okay, clear? Then we will see one example on the single inheritance. You can see this example. I am using 2 classes, class A and class B is there. In class A, I have integer x and y, and also I have declared one method as well, that name is get data. In x and y, I am taking the data of A and B. Then after, one member function, that name is add, and into add function I am putting the addition of x and y. So the output should be written from this particular function. Okay. Then after, you can see I have declared the child class, that name is class B, and I am using the and to inherit this class. So class B extend A. So that we are inherit here from the class A to B. So the B is a child class, and B can use the data and function, whatever data we have used in class A, right? Now you can see in class B also I have declared one function, that name is multiplication, and into multiplication I am going to doing multiplication of x and y, right? But x and y, that you can see it's not a member of class B, it is a member of class A. But class use x and y just because of we are inherit from the A to B. That's why the multiplication of x and y that we are going to do in class B, right? Then after we made one main class, that is the class test. This is the main class of Java, and you have to store your program name with the main class, that name is class test. So you can store this program with the name of test.java, right? Into that main class I am going to declare the object. The object I have declared for the child class, that name is B object is equal to new B, and then after I am going to access the member function of class A and member function of class B using by the object of B, right? So that you can see into the program, that is the add is equal to object dot add and multiplication is equal to object dot multiplication. So though both the function can going to access into parent class as well as into child class and return the value of addition and multiplication, and finally into main class we will just see the addition or multiplication into this program. So this is the program of single inheritance, and into single inheritance we are just going to use one parent class and one child class. Okay, and now we will see the next type, that is the multi-level inheritance. Already we have seen the single inheritance earlier. In single inheritance there is only one parent class is there and only one child class is there. But in multi-level inheritance that you can see in figure, there are three classes there: class A, class B and class C. Class B is a intermediate based class and class is A is a super class, and you can see the class C is a child class, right? If you have declared any protected data in class A, that means only immediately class of class A can use that data. That means class B can only use that data. Class C cannot use that data. But if you have declared the public mode in class A, that means all the class B and C can use that data. So this is the multi-level inheritance, and this is very useful inheritance in Java, right? Then after, we will see the next inheritance in Java, that name is hierarchical inheritance. Now hierarchical inheritance, that means there are more than one child class is there, that you can see into this figure. Here in this figure, there are three child classes there: child B, C and D, and class A is a super class. That means whatsoever data you have declared in class A, that data should be used by child B, C and D. But if you have declared any private data member in class A, that means none of the class of B and C and D can use that data from the class A. Here all three classes are extend from class A. Hierarchical inheritance is nothing but, you can say this is the tree view, right? You can expand this inheritance after the B, after the C and after the D, right? That means whatever data you have declared in class A, that data should be used by child member of B as well, right? So this is hierarchical inheritance, and this is the type number 3 in Java. So only 3 inheritance types can be supported by Java. The another 2 inheritance method is there, the hybrid inheritance and multiple inheritance, but it does not supported by Java. But today we will see how that inheritance method will be supported by Java. So in my next slide, we will see the technique, that name is interface. Using by interface technique, you can implement multiple inheritance in Java. So this is the multiple inheritance example for the Java, but technically you can not say Java is supported multiple inheritance, right? This figure that you can see, this is the figure of hybrid inheritance. Hybrid inheritance, that means it's a combination of multi-level, multiple and hierarchical inheritance, right? All 3 types of the inheritance you can use in hybrid inheritance. In hybrid inheritance, mainly you need to use multiple inheritance technique. But in Java, we need to use interface technique to implement multiple inheritance. Into figure you can see class A is a superclass, B is a child member of class A, and after the B, D is also child member of class B. Also, D is acquired from the class C, right? So technically this figure is not implemented by Java. You cannot directly use this particular method or technique in Java, but we will use interface technique to implement this figure. You will see this small example is there. This example is basically I write from this figure. First of all, I have declared class A, and then you should declare the body of class A. Then after I use class B, extend A, that means class B is acquired from the class A. Then for the C, I am not going to use class name because you cannot use class more than 2 class for the one single child is there. So that's why in place of the class, I am going to use here interface technique. You can use interface and implement into their particular child member. So then after I am using final class, that is the child member D, that you can see in figure. The program is child D, extend B, implement C. So you can see the class member B is extend and the interface here I am going to implement. So both keyword are used to implement multiple inheritance, extend as well as implements. So in final class D, I am going to use class D, extend B, implement C, and then after you can put down the body part of class D. Okay, so in this way you can implement multiple inheritance in Java, and it is very useful technique to indirectly support for the multiple inheritance in Java. Basically, interface and class are much similarity, but somehow some difference between class and interface is there. Class can create an object a similar way, interface cannot create object. Whatsoever data you have declared in interface, that data or variable must have a declare as a final, and their method must have an abstract. Where in class you doesn't need to require any final variable compulsory, right? So somehow the class and interface is similar, but there are some more difference between them also. But interface is very useful technique to implement multiple inheritance in Java, and you can use this technique to implement hybrid inheritance in Java as well, right? So in this way you can implement all type of inheritance: single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance in Java. But technically we will see this program as well as somehow some technically limitation is there. That is why multiple inheritance does not supported by Java, because more than two parent class is not implemented directly in Java, right? So I hope you understand all this concept. We are starting from object oriented technology. Their main concept: the object, class, encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. We will see the detail of inheritance, and there are all 5 types of inheritance. The 3 types of inheritance will supported by Java, but there are 2 inheritance part, the multiple inheritance and hybrid inheritance, is not supported by Java. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this session for the principle of object oriented programming. Thank you very much.